Never just save money. These were the very first words my grandfather ever said to me about life. When I heard this, I was completely confused. Everyone around me always said, save money, save for the future, save for a rainy day. But my grandfather looked at me with a warm smile and said, no, my child, do not just save money. Make your money grow. Let me tell you his remarkable story. In a small, quiet village, there once lived an old man. People in the village called him idle. He never worked. Every single day, he sat beneath a large shady tree. He gazed at the open sky, watched people pass on the road, and simply dreamed. He would say to himself, one day I will open a shop. One day I will buy cattle. One day I will become a wealthy man. But that one day never arrived. He only dreamed. He never took a single step forward. People laughed at him in the beginning. Later, they stopped laughing. They only felt deep sadness for him. Meanwhile, his wife worked tirelessly inside the house. She cooked, washed, cleaned, and did everything she could to keep the family going. One quiet evening, she sat beside him and said gently, dreams are beautiful, my husband, but beautiful dreams cannot fill an empty stomach. We need money. We need work. We need to act. The old man simply nodded and whispered, someday I will find a way. Days passed, months passed, years passed. Life grew harder with every season. Food became scarce. Money was almost completely gone. Then one cold night, the old man's little grandson came and stood before him. The boy was barefoot. He was thin. His eyes were tired and hungry. He asked in a very small, soft voice, Grandpa, do we have any bread tonight? The grandmother slowly opened the cupboard. It was completely empty. No bread, no rice, nothing at all. The old man felt a sharp pain deep in his chest. He looked at the innocent face of that little boy and felt warm tears fill his eyes. In that silent moment, something inside him finally broke open. He understood something powerful that night. Dreams are necessary, yes, but dreams alone cannot feed a hungry family. He could not sleep. He turned and tossed in his bed for hours. His stomach was empty. His heart was heavy. His mind was restless. When morning finally came, he did something he had never done before in his entire life. He got up early, stepped outside, and went to find work. He became a field worker. The sun blazed overhead. The land was dry and cracked. He worked long, painful hours every day. He lifted heavy tools. His back ached deeply. His feet burned against the hot earth. His once soft hand became rough and hardened like stone. Every night he returned home completely exhausted, barely able to stand. The grandmother cooked whatever little she could, sometimes just a handful of beans, sometimes only one or two tortillas, nothing more. Every evening the grandson would run to him and ask eagerly, Grandpa, what did you bring home today? The old man would open his hand and show his small earnings. It is very little, my boy, but it is something, and something is always better than nothing. But slowly, a painful truth began to reveal itself. Money came in, and money went right back out. Food was bought and finished. Medicine was needed and used up. Bills arrived and had to be paid. But the real problems never left. The roof still leaked when it rained. The family was still hungry at the end of each month. Saving even a single coin felt almost impossible. Then one ordinary afternoon at the village store, the old man stood quietly and overheard a group of men talking. One man spoke with great confidence and said, "The real secret to life is saving money. When you save regularly, you build safety. You build security. You build a future." Those simple words burned into the old man's mind and stayed there. That very night, he searched the house and found an old glass jar. He carefully hid it beneath the bed where no one would see it. Every week, no matter how little he earned, he dropped a few coins inside. Clink, clink. That small sound brought him a feeling of hope he had not felt in years. One afternoon, the grandson crawled under bed and discovered the jar. He picked it up, shook it, and asked with wide, curious eyes, "Grandpa, what is this?" The old man took the jar gently, held it close, and said with a peaceful smile, "This, my child, is our tomorrow." But saving was far from easy. He wore the same old broken shoes with holes in the soles. He refused to buy new clothes even when his were torn. The family ate smaller portions every day. Sometimes the plates were almost completely empty at the dinner table. Yet still, week after week, he dropped coins into that jar. The grandmother would sometimes look at him with tired eyes and ask, "What is the point of a jar full of coins when our children go to sleep hungry?" He would look at her calmly and say, "Be patient. One day you will understand." More months passed. The jar grew heavier. The old man felt something he had not felt in a very long time. Pride, safety, a quiet readiness for whatever the future might bring. One bright morning, the family went to the market together. The old man carefully placed his jar of savings on the shopkeeper's table and said confidently, "I would like 3 full sacks of corn, please." The shopkeeper counted every coin slowly and carefully. Then he looked up and shook his head with regret. "I am sorry, my friend. Prices have gone up since last season. This money is only enough for 1.5 sacks. The old man stood there in silence. He felt the ground shift beneath him. All those months of sacrifice, all those empty plates, all that patience, and still, the money had quietly lost its value while sitting in that jar. Life was still hard. The weight of it all pressed down on him once again. That evening, the old man sat alone outside on the old wooden bench. The sky was turning orange and gold. He watched his neighbors walking home from a market. One carried a basket of fresh eggs. Another carried a jug of warm milk. Both of them looked peaceful and unhurried. No fear in their eyes. No worry on their faces. And then, like a small flame quietly lighting up in the dark, a tiny idea appeared in his mind. Very small, very simple. But as he had learned from the chickens walking nearby, even the smallest things can produce something valuable every single day. He turned to his grandson sitting beside him and asked slowly, "What if we use this money to buy a few chickens?" This time, there was no someday in his voice. This time, there was only action. The very next morning, he went and bought a small group of thin, scraggly chickens with his saved money. The grandson jumped with excitement and ran around them laughing. "Grandpa, we have our very own egg factory now." At first, there was only 1 egg, then 2, then a few more. They kept some eggs to eat and sold the rest to neighbors. The little money from the eggs was used to buy another chicken, then another, then a few more. Slowly but steadily, the small flock began to grow. And as the flock grew, so did the income. The old man started keeping a small notebook. He carefully wrote down every single egg sold. He counted every coin that came in. Word spread through the village. Neighbors began stopping at his gate to buy fresh eggs every morning. The house that was once filled with silence and hunger was now filled with the sounds of chickens, laughter, and quiet hope. The old man smiled every day now. A real smile, a proud smile. He still worked hard, but now he worked for something that was truly his own, something that gave back, something that grew. One peaceful morning, he sat on his old bench, held a single egg gently in his rough hands, and called his grandson over. He looked in the boy's bright eyes and said slowly, "This one small egg, my child, is more powerful than any jar full of saved money." He paused and continued, "Saved money can run out. Saved money can silently lose its value while it sleeps. But when you take that same money and use it wisely, when you put it into something that works for you, it does not just sit there. It breathes, it grows, it multiplies, just like life itself." The grandson wrapped his small arms around his grandfather and asked with a grin, "So you are not the lazy old man under the tree anymore?" The old man laughed softly, and a single tear ran down his wrinkled cheek. "No, my dear child, I am not. I just learned my lesson a little late, but better late than never. And the most important lesson I ever learned is this: Never just save your money. Put it to work. Make it grow. From that day forward, he shared this wisdom with every person who would listen. He would look them in the eye and say, saving money is like trying to hold water in the palm of your open hand. No matter how carefully you hold it, drop by drop, it will slowly slip away. But if you take that same water and pour it into the right soil, something beautiful will grow, something that feeds you, something that sustains you, something that lasts. That was his greatest lesson, his truest gift. And today, I pass it on to you. Do not only save your money, invest it, grow it. Start small if you must. Start with whatever you have. Because even the smallest and most humble beginning, taken with courage and consistency, has the power to completely transform your life. Your support means everything to us and gives us the strength to keep creating meaningful stories like this one. If this story touched your heart, please give a like and subscribe for more.